Duczer East video. Duczer East.
Hello, everybody. Today, we're super pleased to have Geethika Kulre from WSO2 here. Geethika is the vice president, and he's responsible for WSO2's identity access management products. And WSO2 is a fantastic company. Many of you are familiar with them, and if you're not, they're worth checking out. It's a super value, both on the API management side, but they're very exciting on the identity access management side. So we're very pleased to have Geethika here today to talk to us a little bit about customer identity access management and the importance of that for the entire C-suite. So on that note, Geethika, what exactly or how important is customer identity access management for the CIO, and how is that something that really is important for customer retention and customer personalization?
Absolutely. And first of all, David, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure to catch up with you and your team. So when we talk about customer identity access management, I think it's good to first discuss, when we talk customer identity access management, the word customer ends up being quite a sort of a loaded word. And it depends on, how it applies to an enterprise depends on the enterprise's go-to-market and business strategies and business lines. The customer could be a consumer, right? So that we call the B2C, CIAM or CIAM. There's B2B, that is if the business has applications which they expose to other businesses, right? So it's the B2B applications. Then it could be a government that has applications for their citizens or constituents. We call that G2C, CIAM. And of course, a bit more controversial, but we always start to think about employees sometimes as customers, because with everybody working from home, remote working and all that, businesses and enterprises are trying to look at the employees also as customers and provide customer-like simplified or consumer-like simplified login experiences to their employees as well. But really, customer IAM is about consumers specifically, other businesses you do, and the users of those businesses, and or citizens or constituents. So when you talk about, having said that, when you come down to a CXO, depending on, who the CXO is, I think CIAM becomes important to those people in different ways. What we've come across, of course, traditionally, customer or consumer IAM, B2B CIAM has been a problem that has been dealt with by the commercial side of the business, right? The marketing folks. So you'd traditionally have a CMO, a CRO who would own this problem and care about it, because for them it's about, okay, we have all these users coming over to our website, browsing through our content, going through our mobile app. It's about how converting these users from being users to consumers, right? And then thereafter, essentially ensuring that we retain them or they retain them, and thus maximize revenue from those particular users. So SAM, you may look at SAM as an identity access management, it's just about login, but then you go beyond just the login to, provide those experiences that are personalized and customized. The more personalized the experience, the more retention you have, right? I mean, it also goes into this term of, the experience economy, right? It's about providing not products or services, but rather experiences. So for a CRO, CMO, it's about retention, about conversion, and so on and so forth. If you're a CISO, now it's about, the security aspect becomes, top of mind, right? And this is also sort of, we have these customers and these enterprises we work with. It's a constant battle about customer experience versus security, right? And Gartner talks about this, but what we all say is that it's no longer one or the other, it's one and the other, right? You have to make sure the experiences are both seamless and secure. Right? So the CISO now, who was traditionally looking into workforce IAM, is looking at consumer IAM or B2B IAM or CIAM, and has to deal with balancing out having technologies that are flexible enough that they are able to provide this experience that are simple, secure, and seamless. And then you'd have the chief digital officer, right? So with this whole going from being just some problem that the commercial side of the business cared about to going to the side of the cybersecurity side of the business. There's also this sort of transition where when enterprises are looking at overall enterprise-wide digital transformation, CIAM more often than not is now becoming top of mind. So the chief digital officers of the world are starting to take definite look at how CIAM and its inherent ability to provide personalized experiences, kind of build that into the digital experiences that they're providing their customers, be it consumers, other businesses, so on and so forth. I know, long-winded answer, but I hope that made sense.
Well, it does. And at least two follow-up questions, Geeks.
Yeah.
The first is when we talk about customer experience, and can you give some simple examples of how and why customer identity access management improves customer experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll sort of answer that in terms of a user's sort of journey when they are coming and interacting with your digital assets. Right? First of all, it's about the onboarding and registration process into your web app, mobile app, whatever it is, right? So at this point, it's about, okay, do they come and create a username and password, or can they bring their own ID? Right? If I'm logging into a consumer-facing application which is meant for consumers, you would expect that to now have social identity. So basically, federation with social identities, right? Have the Google options, have the Facebook options, the Pinterest options, basically whatever the consumer of that enterprise would end up trusting, right? So every enterprise needs to make the decision depending on the profile of the users, demographics, everything. You choose, the social login option of, that's more suited for the audience. So it's first of all, it's about, registration process. How simple is it for me to onboard onto the application? Thereafter, it's about, every time I come and log in back again, right? It's about, can I log in back with my social, login options? It could be the first one that I use. It could be something else. Or maybe, there might be some other additional attributes that enterprise has registered. Right? For example, especially when it comes to government or digital identity initiatives that we work with, sometimes a citizen would want to come and log in with their mobile phone number. Next time it might be their security or a social security number. The other time it might be their email, right? So every 3 times they log in, the same user might end up logging with 3 different user credentials or usernames. At that point, you need to be able to provide multi-attribute login, right? It's another problem CIAM helps solve. And then it's about single sign-on, right? It's a IAM feature, but very, very important from a CIAM experience standpoint as well, right? Because when I come and use one of our digital assets, I might have to actually, in that flow, interact with a few other applications, right? And at that point, you don't want me to keep on logging every time I go into one of those additional applications. So you want to make that experience seamless. These are just obviously sort of higher level sort of answers, but at every one of these points, it's about experience and how simple, seamless is it for me, right? And it's to the extent that identity management needs to be invisible, right? The more invisible it is, the more that I don't even realize that I'm logging into something, the better that experience is. So you have the solution that's flexible enough, to be able to provide that experience.
We've seen over time that a lot of times identity access management, when you step away from the security role and you've got a global architect who's designing a solution. He's got maybe a microservices over here. He's got some functional things he's trying to deliver, some data he's trying to move. And maybe he's partially moving out to the cloud. There's a lot of things going on. And then they think to themselves, oh, by the way, we know we need to do some security and identity access management, but that's those guys over there. They'll take care of that. And we're finding, because of the complexity of this world, that I want to get your opinion on the importance of pulling that architectural decision around customer identity access management and identity access management in general way earlier in the planning stage. In your opinion, should CIOs and architects be considering that at the inception of a project, as opposed to an afterthought when they're 3/4 of the way through, which we see quite often?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that this is a definite shift and transition we are seeing. Like I kind of mentioned this, when enterprises are going through their overall digital transformation initiatives, in more and more we find that these become identity-led transformation projects, right? Again, if you're familiar with WSO2, obviously if any of our listeners are familiar with WSO2, you'd realize that we have another part of our business focuses on API management and integration, right, and application development specifically, and we are brought to a table when it comes to overall digital transformation journeys, problems, projects, because of these two technologies we have. And more, those API management projects end up becoming ID-led or CIAM-led API management projects. So we have some very large customer stories like, the Hard Rock. Hard Rock is one of our customers. Theirs is a CIAM-led sort of API management initiative, where the goal of that entire digital transformation is to provide better customer experiences, right? They had 7 or 8 different loyalty programs. They want to consolidate all of those into one singular identity, a singular authentication experience and loyalty program, and Unity by Hard Rock. And in that journey, to make all of that possible, right, across the globe, across all the different properties, across all the different channels, whether it's web, mobile, in-person, devices, now you need all the integration API management to work very closely with the CIAM, or the customer identity management. So yes, in short, it's very important that when you look at the overall journey, look at overall digital transformation initiatives, you need to think about the identity of your users, irrespective of who the users are. It could be employees, it could be consumers, businesses. You need to think of leveraging that identity in that journey, right? So that now you're not only just creating good digital experiences, but they're also personalized, and that identity becomes core in bringing all these things together.
Thanks. That good answer. So, you owning the product for WSO2, and WSO2 is widely seen as a technology leader, probably one of the most technology proficient companies out there in the landscape. You being responsible for customer identity access management, what industry trends do you see going on that you are making sure that you're in sync with and keeping up with?
Yeah, there's a bunch of very interesting topics happening. We talk about zero trust in the identity space. We talk about decentralized identity space. It came from the self-sovereign identity world. AI is obviously at this point a controversial topic. Everybody's trying to figure out what identity is going to be in the AI world. And I guess, and all of these sort of combine into customer experience, right? Anywhere there's a user, a customer that has been provided an experience, there's so much of identity problems that have been solved. Something that we talk about today is, when we look at CIAM, we have a sort of evolution strategy that we talk about and evangelize about CIAM. CIAM is a journey, like most things in life. First businesses start off by looking at CIAM as a security problem, access management problem, right? It's about the logins, MFAs, registration, single sign-on, all of that. We call that CIAM 1.0, step one in their journey. Step two in the journey is businesses realizing, like the heart of the world, that they have so much of data that they have about that particular user, right? It's all in completely disconnected, disaggregated, siloed applications around the enterprise. At this point, you need to sort of integrate all these applications together. And I'm not talking about just your CRM or some marketing application. I'm talking about true in-depth enterprise integration, because every enterprise is super complex, right? The larger enterprise, the more complexity. So because you're going to have on-prem applications, SaaS applications, cloud applications, sort of both same, but it could be mainframes, it could be legacy applications, non-standard applications. You need to integrate all this together, right? And when you're integrating all this, you need a very flexible platform that helps you do that. And once you integrated all that data together and you combine that with the identity, right? Now you have what we call a digital double of the user, right? The identity and the personal information you have about it, digital double. It's about using that to provide personalized experiences, right? And when you go down that path, then it opens up a lot more doors, right? The personalization part. And then it also brings the question, okay, what does this look like in a decentralized identity space? It's about decentralized identity is about users bringing their own identity, right? And there are some multiple sort of tracks on decentralized identity. One of it believes that the user obviously has the identity. He's going to come in and authenticate into that enterprise at whatever digital asset. At that point, our idea is that we already have so much of data about the user, but it is not associated to any PII in the decentralized identity world. As soon as I come with my digital identity, digital wallet, and I log in, at that point, it's the entire personalization engine just kicks in a snap second, associating that identity with a with the dummy identity they had in their stored in the organization. At that point, you have sort of personalization on the fly. So you need to have set up the ability for enterprise to be able to provide personalization on the fly, right? That's SAM 1, 2, 3, what we help enable. The second part of decentralized identity trends talks about how that user might not only bring their identity, but also their personality, right? All in this sort of digital wallet. So you use that and authenticate, then the enterprise could basically use that personality traits that they have when the user authenticates and use that to personalize experience. But again, the process of personalizing requires all the in terms of that organization to be integrated and to be integrated with an identity first way, so that you're able to, on the fly, provide that personalized experience for that user. That's decentralized identity. There's a lot more, but in the interest of time, I'm just going to stop there.
That was a great answer. It is a deep subject. One of the things that's fascinating to me about WSO2 and the fact that you've got this great product, Asgardo Identity Access Management Suite, is that you guys are also a leader in the identity or the integration platform as a service space. Your API manager. And so that kind of marriage of those two technologies, I think, gives you guys kind of deeper roots than if you were strictly identity access management, because there's a lot of integration experience with the company. So as a product manager, and you're talking about these trends, is there any insights into the roadmap and where you're heading with the product that's relevant to this discussion?
Yeah, FYI, I'm not the product manager. We have an amazing team that actually does all the hard work from a product management standpoint. I have the just privilege of working with them. But at this point in time, you're right. We find ourselves in a very unique place because of the technology we bring to market. The API management integration technology combined with the SAM technology. We look at this as technologies that help enterprises build out those digital experiences simple, fast, with minimal cost. as well, right? And it's at that point it becomes a an entire application development suite, right? Whatever applications you're building as an enterprise, we have all the technologies that can support you to do this. Whether it's on-prem, the cloud, private deployments, we have it all. A lot of our work moving forward is going to be very much focused on our SaaS suite. In this case, on from application development standpoint, as our IDevP or Internal Development Platform / API SaaS product, which is called Choreo. A bunch of capabilities and it's a suite of products there. And then we have Ascari, which focuses on CIAM. A lot of our focus is going to be on that front, but specifically from an IAM or CIAM perspective, we are in the process of building out, the ability for an enterprise to move from CIAM 1, 2, right up to 3 in the cloud. Okay, and do so in the most with using one of the most developer-first, developer-focused platforms, right? Because we have developers, at the forefront when we build our solutions, providing with the APIs, SDKs, agents, essentially everything a developer requires to be super productive, super fast, and build and also do so using one of the most flexible platforms in the cloud, right? So that they're able to build this experience, because customer experience in the experience economy, that experience is what's going to differentiate you in the digital world, right? So the experience one enterprise wants to provide is completely different from the experience another enterprise in that same industry or would be trying to provide. So we need to allow every enterprise define what is the experience they want to provide their users, and provide that set of tools, so that they are able to build out that bespoke experience, which is going to be completely different from some other enterprise, right? So you need that flexible platform and give your developers the power they need to build that up. It's super fast, as easily as they can. So that bring that to the cloud and making it super easy to use, that's sort of at a very, very high level without going to the actual technical nitty-gritties is sort of where we are headed as well.
Super, Geethika. So we have just a little bit of time left. Are you able to give us any case studies or just maybe a very high level view of a couple success stories that WSO2's had in this space?
Yeah, specifically on SIAM side, from a consumer user experience, I just spoke about HardRock, right? And that was an amazing experience for us working with HardRock, because HardRock for the casinos, their online work, they have their rock shops, to their Hard Rock, the cafes, so on and so forth, and their vision is just amazing, where they wanted to consolidate 8 to 9 different loyalty programs that they had sort of built out around the world across all their different properties and digital channels, just bring them all into one singular experience. They call that UT by Hard Rock. And now users authenticates anywhere in the world at any different properties, they can authenticate using WSO2. And this goes down to whether it's a mobile app, the web app, when you're checking into the hotel, when you're checking in or trying to book or make a reservation at Hard Rock Cafe, right down to the slot machine, right? So you can authenticate into the slot machines and play using your Hard Rock points, right? So that's like the loyalty programs taken to the next level using our technology for consumers. And we have the likes of, I spoke about B2B CIAM. We have the likes of Nutanix, which is, foremost hybrid infrastructure cloud provider. Their problem was, being able to, differentiate the user bases of all their 23,000 plus enterprise customers and provide every enterprise customer with the ability to federate into the Nutanix app using the enterprise IDP, right? And basically go to market faster with every one of those enterprises, provide dedicated administration and all this fun stuff. And our B2B CIAM capabilities came to help Nutanix and many other customers in the B2B CIAM space. And then we have many digital identity projects we work on around the world from a G2C standpoint. Even in the US, where state agencies that use our technology for applications that they make available to their citizens and constituents, so that they can authenticate into whatever department it is, whatever applications that the state provides, and then do so simply as fast as possible. So yeah.
That's exciting. And one of our big verticals is the hospitality, casino, and cruise line space. We're very active as a company. That's not the only thing we do, but we certainly have a following. And that particular Hard Rock story is it's making waves. It's very disruptive. The experience at Hard Rock by their visitors is they're doing very well. So congratulations to you guys on that. And so geeks, thank you so much for spending this time with us today. And great talking to you again. Hope to catch up with you again in the future. And we do appreciate
absolutely.
it. Thanks.
Awesome. And thanks so much, David. Thanks as always. Pleasure catching up with you.
Hi, I'm Alex. Thanks. I hope that we were able to add some value to you. For questions, feedback, I would love to talk to you. Here is my email, arodriguez@duczereast.io. I'll be sure to contact you. ¡Feliz día!